Hey, what's up YouTube? I am Lauger. I'm back again today to talk to you about the Pathfinder role-playing game and a little bit about my experiences, and hopefully you learn from some of the stuff I've done. So a little backstory on the tale I'm about to tell. This was my first campaign. First character I ever made. First campaign I ever played. First campaign for anybody in the group, really. And I worked with the guy who was the GM, which is how I got started in role-playing. He's like, hey, I'm thinking about starting this up. Would this be something you'd be interested in? So I said, yeah, sure. We started playing, and we played over an app called Roll20, which simulates the tabletop experience on the computer. So you don't actually have to be able to be in person to play. It worked out real well. We talked over Skype. Actually let you do more things than what the actual tabletop experience would let you do. You could keep stuff hidden. You could have pieces and enemies and stuff laying in wait for, say, an ambush. And they were all hidden from view until the GM decided to reveal them, whereas potentially, in an in-person game, in a home game, they'd be off the map, but the GM would have them hidden behind his screen. But you'd see him reach and pull and put something on the board, and you'd know something was coming. With this, it would just, he'd do his thing and poof, they'd appear. Anyway, so I worked with the guy, like I said, first experience, and a little backstory about where we were in this adventure. We started in a town called Sandpoint. We had saved them from an imminent goblin invasion, and we had become the heroes of Sandpoint. Well, it's all fine and well. In the course of doing this, we had taken a prisoner. And what do we do with the prisoner? Well, I'm not going to talk today really about the prisoner dilemma. That's a topic for another day. But we had a prisoner. Well, we turned him over to the local town guard. And in an adventure hook, I guess you could say, they decided to turn him over to the judge or the magistrate, I think it was, in a bigger town, which was quite a ways to the south. It's in the same kingdom. Well, we had two options to get there. We could either take the boat, or we could travel overland. The boat was going to be quicker, but we had a couple things we wanted to do in town before we could go, and the boat was going to leave before then. So we went overland. Okay. So we go. We're going overland, and I seem to remember that we had stopped multiple times on this thing, like I think he made us play out like every night at camp whether something happened or not. Oh, you make camp, you have supper, who takes watch, who does, alright, your watch goes by, nothing happens, that kind of stuff. Well, one of the nights on watch. The prisoner's boss actually gets him sprung from our custody. And we tried very hard to subdue him and keep him in custody, and maybe even take a few more prisoners. And it didn't happen. Well, okay, so where do we go from here? Well, the GM originally, when he designed the jailbreak, fully planned on us just to keep going toward the city of Magnamar, which is where we were heading, and continue that way in hopes of continuing, finding out more about what's going on and moving the story ahead that way. No. We had a cleric, a fighter, and a rogue. I was the cleric. What did we do? With no real ability to track, no bonuses to track or anything like that. I don't even know if any of us had bonus points in survival. We go ahead and we fuck off into the woods chasing after the guy. And that turned into a whole mess. So we get off into the woods and we're chasing this guy. And I want to say it took like 2-3 game sessions. But we catch up to him. And we finally catch up to him at night. Well, in the ensuing battle, he ends up dead. A couple of his cohorts end up dead, but his boss gets away. Fuck, okay. Well, we don't have a prisoner at all. He had no information on him. They didn't have any information on him. We don't know what she was up to. So, but we know which way she went. So off we go. We chase after her. Okay. Well, we get to this abandoned city. This really old abandoned city. And, I'm trying to remember now. We get into the abandoned city, and we completely lose track of her. We find a few things inside the city, some old stuff, some old scrolls, a few other things like that. I don't remember much now. But we completely lost her. So then we decide to go off into the woods, trying to find our way back to the main road to get back to running to Magnamar. And we are completely and totally lost. So we're lost, and we end up again, it spends like a game session, maybe more. It seems like trying to find our way back to the road, and I think we found we spent part of a game session helping a lumber camp. I think that we had found. They had a troll problem that they had to deal with. But, I think we did okay, if I remember right. And then we kept going, and we ran into this small abandoned town. Or not abandoned, but it was almost a ghost town. Very small. That had an abandoned mine. And this is where things went sideways. Well, we had made it to level 8 by this point, I think. And the town has this abandoned mine. Well, we go talk to whoever we talked to. I don't remember now. I think it was the mining foreman or something, so that they had some issues in the mine. And we were more than welcome to go into the mine, but we just had to, we had to pay him a fee, I think, if we found anything. If anything was clearly theirs, I think they got it back. So they got any of the stuff back. Well, okay, now what? So at one point in there, we find a wall of this mine had like collapsed or something, or they had dug into, I don't remember now, an actual cave that was in there. So we went looking into this cave, and at one point we found something in the cave. Well, I'm going to go off on a couple side notes here before I go to what was in the cave. This was my first character. This was my Gripply cleric, who was a small creature. He stood only 2'2", I think it was. And, you know, all of it, being small, all of your damage is reduced. Your weapons all go down by, I think, 1 dice over normal, or more. You take a penalty, I think it is a natural penalty to strength. You get, like, your carry weight's reduced, and the way he was playing it, the way the GM was playing it, was that smaller creatures weren't as common, therefore it wasn't as common to find stuff to fit a small creature. And this included every town we had been in, every place we went to. Nobody had anything I could really buy. So, now what? Well, crap. Didn't have anything, he even admitted that he didn't know to what level that a normal pre-written campaign would have given you stuff. I think by like level 8, I don't think we even had rings of protection. We might have had like a ring of protection +1. I don't think we had, if I remember right, we didn't have like headbands of plus whatever mental stat. I don't think we had belts of plus whatever mental or physical stats. Nothing like that. Like I don't think I had a single +1 weapon. I think I might have had one masterwork weapon. I know I didn't have. I don't think I had any masterwork armor. So I couldn't find any gear because he was playing it. That small stuff was just so hard to find in a rural and in lowly populated areas. Well, so I didn't have any gear. I was unhappy with how much damage I was doing, forgetting how good I did in combat with my spells. I was focusing more on the physical side of it because, again, you only get so many spells, and I wasn't happy. Okay. Well, I wasn't happy with my character. I wasn't happy with the way he was playing it and everything. So if you understand, this has been festering for a while that I wasn't happy with the way my character was going. And the biggest thing I kept talking about doing was, once we had money, which was the other thing, we didn't have a lot of money. So we had no gear, no real money to buy gear and stuff. And he was keeping us very, very poor. And like I said, he admitted later on that he didn't realize to what level that maybe we should have been, because I think it's the Game Mastery Guide, Paizo has a average player wealth per level, and we were nowhere near that at all. Now that counts everything. That counts mounts you have, that counts all your gear, that counts everything. But we weren't close to that at all. Okay, so he admitted that he didn't really know what he was doing in that regard, but That came after. This had been, like I said, building for quite a while. Okay. Well, now on top of it, I mentioned earlier on that I had worked with the guy. And the night before this, the game session that really blew everything up, I worked with him. I was pissed. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he was pissing me off at work. I remember that. I don't remember exactly why now. But I was mad about how he was acting at work. I was mad about the game session. I should have just canceled the game that day, but I didn't. I went and played. Alright. Well, what happened? So, we go ahead and we meet up to play. We get in for our game, and we're in this cave. And we'd seen something in the water. I don't remember. I know we had done a few other adventures in this cave, and I have to stop and think, and those probably will be mentioned in other videos, but we found something in this cave. Something down by the water, I seem to remember, and I ran up. I think it was a crab of some kind, and I think I did a charge to run and go attack this thing. Well, I ran through this, I think I failed my perception roll or something, and I ran through this patch of fungus. And of course it explodes. I fail my fortitude save, and I contract a disease. Fuck. Well, okay, so I got this disease. And I got the disease. Well, now what? He said make your fortitude save. I didn't. Made a heal check. I passed. I'm like, okay, what do I got? He's like, well, you think it's this. Okay. And he tells me a little bit about it and says I have to make a save every so many hours. Or no, he doesn't tell me I have to make a save. He just says, okay. I go, well, do I think I'll be okay till like tomorrow when I can prepare remove disease? He's like, yeah, you think you'll be okay. So we find a safe spot in the cave, and we camp down for the night. He says nothing to me the whole time and go to bed. Alright. Wake up the next day, he goes, I go, okay, well, I go to cast I go to do my spell so I can take care of this disease. He's like, no, actually, I read it wrong. You should have been making a fortitude save like every 10 minutes. You're just dead. Wait, what? I'm just dead? Well, every we're going to assume you didn't attempt to make the save, so therefore they're all failures. And every time you fail one, the DC goes up, so yeah, you're just dead. And there was something in the disease that if you failed so many in a row, you just died. Okay. So now I'm just upset. And he's like, but since I screwed up, go ahead, do your thing, and as long as you pass your fortitude, as long as you pass your remove disease check this morning, you'll be fine. Well, fuck me. I do it, I pass. But it doesn't help. It doesn't help matters at all. I'm now upset, I'm pissed off, I'm already mad at the guy, and now he had just killed my character. So, he just killed my character. And it's like, what do I do? Well, fuck me, I don't know. I probably handled it wrong. But I got mad. I got even more mad. And what did I do? Well, I started acting extremely reckless. I acted like a guy who wanted his character killed. oh, this creature climbed down the hill and ran away. Oh, must have a climb speed. What do? I jump off the hill. Or jump off the cave face. Oh, it's 20 feet down. It's only 2d6 fall damage, no big deal. Take the damage and then not heal it. Start doing all sorts of reckless stuff because, well, I was dead anyway. What's the difference and stuff? Well, that wasn't the right way to deal with it, but I was mad. And what happened? Well, like I said, we had a cleric, a fighter, and a rogue. Well, the fighter was a catfolk, and was playing it like a typical cat. Didn't like the water and things like that. Okay. Well, we found this underground pool. I think I could have swam down, and I didn't really want to. I'm like, gee, what's going to happen? I go to the bottom of the... I think I even said it. I think I'm like, gee, what's going to happen? I go to the bottom of the pool of water, and I mysteriously get sucked under, and I'm just dead then and there, or what, I was all kinds of mad. Well, so what happened? He goes ahead, the catfolk, he's like, yeah, I'll go down. He goes, I just don't want to get wet. You got any spells that would help me? And I look at what I had prepared, and I was, like I said, I was pissed. I was in an I don't give two shits mentality, so what do? I'm like, oh yeah, I get the perfect spell, for you. It'll keep you safe from all that horrible water down there. He's like, really? You prepared it today? I said, oh yeah. I got your back. I'm good. What do? I cast Create Water. Create Water that you summon up to 2 gallons of water. It just magically appears wherever you want it. 2 gallons of water per level. We were like level 8, I think it was. 7 or 8. So it was either 14 or 16 gallons of water I was able to create. And I basically had this amount of water just show up above the guy's head and just sploosh. Soak him. It was a dick move, I know that. But I was in an I don't give two shits mentality. And of course he turns around and he punches me in the face. Not physically because, we were in separate states, but his character hits mine in the face. Well, it wasn't long after that particular incident. It was time to end the session anyway, which we did. The third member of our group, the rogue, had actually been deployed with the Air Force. He was going to be gone for like 3 months, I think it was. So we put this game on hold. Said we'd come back to it when he got back. Well, he gets back. We never came back to this game. We decided in the meantime we're going to do something different. Start a new campaign. It had been 3 months. Instead of jumping back into that campaign, we were just going to kill it off. And I think in part it had to do with the way that last session went, with where we were, where I was upset about everything. And, that's on me. Now, did I have every right to be pissed about him for being an ass at work? Maybe. Should I have let it affect my gameplay? No. If you have an interaction with a player or a GM outside of the game, routine thing like work, or maybe it's a family member or something, don't let it affect the game. If it does, or if you think it's going to, or whatever, see if you can postpone that particular game session. Maybe take that game session off yourself, or something. You shouldn't have to be. You shouldn't let outside things away from the game affect how you deal with the game. I didn't do that. I let it fester and boil and just compound with other things. On top of it, like I said, I wasn't happy with my character. Now, if you're not happy with your character, talk to the GM. Now, in this case, he kept saying you just got to get to, I had been talking to him. He kept saying, you just got to make it to the bigger city. You got to make it to the bigger city. You'll be able to get some stuff. You'll be able to get some stuff. And it's like, okay, well, I got tired of hearing that. There's only so much you can do. Well, there were things I could do. I could have taken points in craft and maybe attempted to make my own weapons. I could have taken, we could have maybe found somebody and had some stuff special made. There were options. I was expecting him to hand feed it to me like any other video game, which is partly on me. You have to remember it's not a video game. You're not going to get everything handed to you. You're not always going to get your way. But the thing is, you have to, if you're that unhappy with your character, maybe talk to the GM. And maybe he'll let you have the character just, for whatever reason, split with the party, never to be seen again. Maybe you can bring in a different character. I allowed that in one game I GM'd. Player had started with an alchemist character, decided by like level 2 that he wanted to save that character for a different game. Asked if he could switch out for a ranger. I didn't have a problem with it. Like, well, I want you to play a character for this campaign that you like, so go ahead, make whatever changes you want, and we'll go from there. And he did. He completely changed his character. Alright, fine. But if you have any issues with not liking your character, like I said, talk to the GM. Maybe talk to your other players. Maybe there's something they can do to help your character out. Maybe one of them, maybe you didn't ask the right questions, and maybe one of your fellow players does have, say, a craft skill that they could use to help make you armor or make you weapons if you're unhappy with the frequency of stuff you're getting dropped. Yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is try to keep outside influences from affecting your gameplay. If you're not happy with how things are going, talk to the GM, talk to your fellow players, and go from there. Don't be a dick. Don't let your own rage over how things are going, end up causing the campaign you're running to go so far derailed and sideways that it's going to negatively affect your campaign. In my case, I can't say it's all entirely on me, but I feel like that's what happened. Is I got to the point where I quit caring all in one game session. I mean, it had been building, but it all came to a head in one game session. And then the next time we went to go play it, they're like, no, let's just move past it. We'll go on to something else. And they didn't exactly ask my opinion, but they kind of knew where my vote was going to stand. So learn from my mistakes, keep your rage in check, and hopefully you have a better experience than I did. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and if you've had similar experiences, maybe drop a line in the comments. Until next time.